Welcome to Power Up, the podcast that uncovers the unique challenges women leaders face today. Join your hosts, Nat and Kristen, as we dive into the tough topics and provide actionable insights you can apply right now. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes.
Today is a very sad day because Kristen and I will be sharing our obituaries. Do you know this is a hobby that my friends and I have had for a couple of years now, where we plan our funerals. Less so our obituaries, but our funerals are quite heavily planned down to quite a lot of detail, including cocktails, dress code. But this actually came from, well, now I've done a whole ramble about my obsession with funerals. Do you want to share where this particular
I
one came
will,
from?
but I just wanna say that's really interesting. I feel like the world can be divided into 2 types of people. One, people that gleefully plan their funerals, and others that are, like, absolutely petrified of dying and won't even go there, and I feel like we probably fall on 2 different camps, and, like, so anyone listening, it's okay if you are
I'm
like,
terrified of dying, don't worry. I feel like maybe
"Oh."
planning your funeral has a way of, I think it's sort of what we've agreed to today and why we're doing this. It's a way of sort of going, what would the ultimate party or ultimate my dream uh acknowledgement of my life, celebration of my life look like?
But, like, why does it matter? You're gone.
Well, that's why I've now started to pull some of my funeral back into like having a wedding or something so that I can actually be there for it. I know that was the fatal flaw in
Same,
our
like
funeral planning, is that we all suddenly realized when but you can have a living funeral.
you're like, "Hang
Fun
on a
fact,
minute,
my
this is
mum had a
actually
living
my
funeral.
wedding.
My mum
Hang
had a
on a minute."
funeral, probably like 15 years ago. We went on a trip to Vietnam, and it was quite awful at the time. We were on the back of motorbikes, and she went around a blind corner, and she got run into by a truck. It was awful, and I just remember she's, like, lying on the middle of this road with blind corners and traffic going everywhere with a severely broken leg, and, like, we were like, "Ah!" Had to get her back to a small town. Anyway, after that shock, she decided to hold her own funeral. No, her own celebration of life, and everyone had to bring a skit, and it was fabulous. There was a lot of poetry about her. I mean, she was like a pig in shit. She was like sitting back and letting everyone say wonderful things about her. I did an interpretive dance.
I'm not surprised about the interpretive dance, but this is, revelatory, conversation. Like, I'm like, "Wow, I just" yeah, like, give me a party or a wedding, and I just like, let's just not think that we will, die one day. But anyway, here we are writing an obituary, and where this came from, it's like traumatizing activity, no, is that we interviewed a fabulous woman on Power Suit. As we do every month, we interview an incredible role model that we can learn from, aspire to, whatever, take some action from, some learnings and shortcut some learnings and action. And she was amazing. She had been doing an MBA, and as part of their one of the most formative activities that she did during this MBA was that she had to write her own obituary. And what came out of that was that she used that as a filter to guide the values of her, what mattered to her, first of all. So she really was able to refine her values as a result of this. And secondly, she used it as a filter for her career. So, what to say yes to, what to say no to, what to actually cut, what to change. And that was incredible. And we thought, oh my gosh, let's write our own obituaries, which we did. And we said it on the call. So we introduced her. We're like, we're going to go do this activity. And we'll probably do it as a wider Power Suit community, actually. So get in. But yeah, that's what Nat and I spent this morning doing. And then I'm like, this is kind of, I feel apologetic over mine almost, but nonetheless, here's where I'm at, you know? You? How do you feel about yours?
I mean, I decided, as with most things in life, that I was gonna do a hack job at the end because it wasn't really my obituary. Because I get very caught up in, like, the detail, like, "How do I make this sound good? How do I, like, build" like, "How do you summarize my entire life?" And then I was like, "No, I wanna just really focus on" and not my life to date. I think that was the other challenge. So I don't think I've got that cracked yet. Like, what do I want the next 80 years of my life to look like that haven't happened yet?
Did you
Um
say 80 years of your life? Okay. You're gonna join that guy, and drink the black mushroom powder and he takes 200 pills a day. He's such a weirdo, and he looks really old. Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
I don't think
What
it's David Attenborough turned 100, and he is, like, living his best life. He
Okay,
looks
so
like a
whatever your
youth.
age is plus 80. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Okay, what I start on your point about the obituary thing, I of course was very earnest and I'm like, first, obviously full disclosure, I used my robot and I
Oh, yeah, I
chatted
used a robot
because I
too.
didn't know where to start. So I was like, I don't read obituaries. You know, there's people that read, like my in-laws read obituaries, and then my husband will get a call every like few weeks. Guess who died? He's like, oh God, this is like how their conversations go. But anyway, I don't read obituaries. I don't want to read them. So I had to use a robot to help me with like, okay. And I just started a conversation. I did voice, which I hate voice. Most of the time I will record myself and then I'll use the chat function. But I was going on a I was multitasking, going on a walk with my dog. So I was like, I'm gonna use the voice, like the conversation, which is the worst. I can't stand it because
Do you find it annoying because 'cause it's got a pause after each
they're
thing?
annoying. Everything they do is annoying. I don't know how people fall in love with the robots because I literally hate mine. I'm like, "Stop patronizing me. I don't like your tone. Where do I change this?" And they're all like, "In the settings," and I just haven't got around to it. So I literally hate my robot. But anyway, my robot, and I wrestled. So we wrestled during this walk because I was like, "Have to write an obituary." But really, it's kind of like how we wanna live the next 80 years of our life. So it has to perform that function of like looking back and how we would want people to remember us, but equally we're gonna use it as a filter, which was very difficult. So it got all
Yeah,
bamboozled.
but I
Yeah.
do think for anyone doing this at home, and we're actually gonna turn it into a mini masterclass because it's harder than it sounds, and we can step by step guide you through it. But I think there's something about just keeping it what I got to in the end is like everything, it's a practice. This is our first cut, and it was just about high level, what would I feel really happy if my life finishes like? I, again, don't think I cracked it because I think I was probably a bit too focused on what it's currently like and not, like, thinking big enough about what it could be, but that is what it is. And then the secondary thing could be out of that, if you were to plug that back into your sycophantic robot, what would it pull out as some of the values you had? Like, you could do it as a
That's where
second
I was
step, but don't
going.
worry about it for now. My
That
god,
was
I had a
kind of the
Canadian accent. Don't worry about
don't
it?
worry, don't worry, don't worry. That's where I was kinda going with it, but then the dog walk ended. So where I got to, like, when I read it, I'm like, "I don't think this is my obituary." And when I asked my annoying robot, I was like, "Is this an obituary?" They're like, "Actually, no, it's more like a manifesto," and whatever. I think it is a look back,
Disclaimer,
but I think
disclaimer,
it's
disclaimer. We've disclaimed
I
so much.
know, we've disclaimer. I think mine is too vague, but
Thanks.
nonetheless, I'm like, I think it does capture some stuff about me. So, Nat, you go first.
Okay. Don't laugh. No, you're allowed to laugh. I don't know how to start it, but Nat, I'm gonna start with my name. Nat died at 120 years old doing what she loved, drinking gin martinis on her yacht in the Greek islands, surrounded by friends and family in colorful caftans. She lived by a philosophy that started as a joke on long walks with her parents. When in doubt, it's always the path that goes up. The steeper path, usually the one without proper signage. And she did. She chose the uphill route, professionally and personally. When she reached a fork in the road, she'd ignore the safe option in order to find out what the top looked like. For someone who spent a lot of time on stages, she was always wildly disinterested in appearances. 6 months into their relationship, Kyla famously remarked, "The thing that surprises me most about you is how unglamorous you are." And it was true. Nat lived her life in paint splattered track pants, driving a decade old car and keeping her glam clothes and heels in a memory drawer. She had no interest in status for status' sake, but she cared fiercely about the things that mattered to her, from free range eggs and fostering animals to financial freedom for women. Her proudest career achievement was building Powersuit into a platform that helped tens of thousands of women think bigger about what was possible for themselves. She loved watching them realize that they did not need permission to want more. She also had a bloody good time. Nat collected stories the way other people collect handbags. Her closest friends included Michelle Obama after the two met while speaking at an event together. Michelle recently reflected that they bonded over a shared love of fun before adding, though I agree with Kyla, she really should have upgraded the track pants. Nat leaves behind approximately 47 partially finished creative projects, several foster animals with behavioral issues, and an alarming number of overflowing cupboards and drawers. Now, as specifically requested by Nat, Westlife will perform Flying Without Wings. Please join us to throw yourselves dramatically at the floor, sob wildly, and loudly declare that happiness itself has permanently lost all meaning without her.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yours is so good. I can see where you went very current detail meets aspirational. Like that's really interesting. Those two worlds kind of was like, yours is so good. It's so funny. Your robot's funny. Mine's I gotta fire my
To be
robot.
fair, most of that was from my head, and then I just got the robot to go, like, make it into an obituary. Mainly about Michelle Obama was the key part there that I really and Westlife, 2 things that I really need to get out into the universe, and the yacht in the Greek islands.
That's so good. I love it. I love that there was specific detail in there. There's aspiration, which is where I did not go at all. But I love that. And I love the humor. But yeah, great. So good.
I do actually expect people to cry at my funeral. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, "I want it to be a celebration of my life." I want people to be, like, absolutely devastated.
And why does it matter? You're dead.
It matters
Okay.
because I don't want them to move on with their lives. I want them to spend every day afterwards being like, "This would be so much better if Nat was here."
No, you don't.
I
No, you
actually do.
don't.
I'm deeply selfish.
Okay, well, that didn't come out in your obituary. Well, yeah, it did in a roundabout way. Yes, it did. Okay. I feel like mine is really like earnest, and I feel like yeah, but I feel like I need to tweak it based off yours, and not to make it more like yours, but I'm like I see a few key things that I was missing, and
I
mine's
also feel like this is the joy maybe we should write our obituaries every year because,
yeah,
like,
great.
the first cut, gosh, that's
Okay.
hard, and I
Yeah, yeah, mine was super earnest. And maybe that is, like you said, this is this is like the mood I'm in at the moment. So this is so
am
good.
I
So
gonna
good.
cry? I often
No,
cry.
no, it's like lame because my robot's lame. Okay. And again, I'm like, first try, first try. Okay. Kristen believed people were capable for more than they believed about themselves. They had a way of, no, sorry. Kristen believed people were capable far more than they believed about themselves. She had a way of reflecting that back to them, not through empty cheerleading, but through genuine conviction. She raised her kids to believe they could do anything and then made sure they actually tried. Her expectation, however, was that when they tried, they really tried. She chose being uncomfortable over predictable, and they learned to do the same. She married her best friend, and together they adventured, tried new things, moved countries, traveled, a healthy, fulfilling partnership she wasn't sure existed until she found it. She was intensely focused on her work, on the people she loved, sometimes at the cost of presence. Okay, many times. She was deliberate about those who she let close, and she had a handful of friendships where she could think out loud, be messy, share her worries. Those friendships were reciprocal. She gave as much as she got. She was drawn to big, hard, interesting things, starting from scratch, refusing the obvious path. She needed to see her contribution land, her fingerprint, and she was willing to sit in the discomfort and sacrifice if she could see it in the works, herself in the work. She was most challenged when surrounded by exceptional people, also not waiting for things to happen to them. She had a fiercely generous heart for women, their freedom, their choices, their right to do hard things. A power suitor saw herself differently because of Kristen. A founder took a leap, a friend left a bad relationship. And when crisis arose, she would take control. She wanted to do hard things, physically hard, not just professionally hard. She didn't want to get comfortable. She was most alive when moving through nature, and so she built her life to stay close to it. The cities she chose, the countries she moved to or traveled through, not for the lifestyle, but because it was where she refueled and where she came back to herself and to everyone else. A little bit more earnest.
Oh my gosh, did you know what? I was just thinking we could probably write each other's obituaries because that's probably if you died tomorrow, please don't. That would be the key themes I would touch on for you. I think it's great.
Oh, it's just a little bit serious compared to yours, and then I was like, I could try and
I'm
make it not
serious
serious.
about being best friends with Michelle Obama. That is my life goal.
Yeah, but it was just so beautifully funny.
Oh, well, I do think it's interesting the themes for you was, like, things we know, like, you are an absolute cheerleader. I also love that we know family really shines through for you, so I thought that was, like, the way you almost showcased your values through how you embedded them in your children. I think that's such an interesting idea for parents of, like, the values you really care about are the ones you want to instill and have your kids live by. I think that's, like, kind of an interesting test for anyone thinking about their values, like, what are the things that you care about for them? Um, I was sad that I didn't hear anything about surfing in there, but, like, general
I
nod.
had it I had it I had some detail both for power suit and for, like, surfing in there. Like, I actually had it, and it didn't flow, and I said, "Remove detail for now, let's just stay high level." And then I
Yeah.
think the next iteration could actually be a little bit,
And we could
um
put a slideshow of you surfing behind it, so, like, there will be imagery to really, like, cover some of the lack of detail.
like, again, I feel like when they described it's actually a manifesto of how you wanna live, I was like, "Yeah, it probably is," like, less so than anyway, I think,
I think the challenge for both of us is to rewrite it again in a year's time or such like, but think from now, because I think what I'd like to do is from now forward, and Kyla and I talk about this all the time, and the problem is we are so deeply satisfied with our lives that we really struggle to think what would we change. But like I would love to think in whatever year's time, 80, let's go 80 just for, argument's sake, what would look different or be better or bigger? Because I feel like both of us are probably in a state of quite content with the lives we've built for ourselves.
interesting you say that because I think that's what broke the robot. Like the robot can't think in meta where you're like, write my past, but then it's in 80 years. And so I think, it didn't work. And an example, actually, I have something that I wanna change because I'm obviously transitioning out of investing in my children. In fact, I tell them to go away and solve their own problems now. So that's a thing. But for me, what I have reflected on as part of this exercise is in the last 10 years, I have gotten physically comfortable. And, it's just surprising to me of the physically hard things I used to do, whereas I no longer do them, like, or as often, or it doesn't feel that way, and so that was interesting to me, and I tried to capture like, it wasn't able to be
Yeah, like, no,
captured.
you did capture, like, you like to do hard things physically, and I think that is, like, when you look I think we both hugely inspired by Olympians and watching people climb buildings and, um, you're watching a surf competition right now, all the things that we think and, like, going to the moon, like, I think both of us are really drawn to and want to practice the things of putting yourself physically in really uncomfortable situations because we know from all the research and all the people who do it, that is where kind of the meaning of life comes from, where you feel most at one, kind of,
I
like
know. Well, I thought of you this morning because it is the season of peaking Everest, of course, and so people started to summit Everest today, and they will do so until the end of this month. There's only a window of about 12 days, per year, and what, this one reel that I was watching was a woman, as they do, just did the base camp, trek, and I remember you said 8 years ago you wanted to do it, and I was like, "Why?" But actually after watching the reel, I was like, "Maybe we need to do that."
No, remember we decided we were gonna go somewhere else in the Himalayas because I think both of us agreed at the time, I thought it was something that like, I don't think either of us likes doing things that we are just gonna be in sort of a production line of people doing the same thing. Like, I'm fine doing it at, like, a running event or something where it's, like, the camaraderie and the, like, team effort, but I think we would both prefer to do like, even those beautiful walks over in Europe that I think both of us want to do as well. Like, how do you find the ones that are maybe a little bit less popular. No, I'm not like one of those people who's like, "I need to be doing it all on my own because like, go invent it then." But, like, something that feels a little bit more like I am with nature and
Yes.
not necessarily
Yes,
surrounded by
yes. Yes, yeah, yeah. No, love it. So I think you're right. There's something interesting about, how to capture this and write this, but also how to actually do stuff, to your point. Like, what is there and, what's interesting is I feel like I did a lot of physically hard things until my focus was on my children doing physically hard things, and then I you lose yourself, and then by the time you get out of it, you're friggin' exhausted, and so I'm so proud that thankfully I'm just so thankful that we're doing a professionally hard thing and a meaningful one with impact that clearly aligns with both of our values. I'm
Yeah.
like, that, like, huge check.
It's funny because I think when we did the personality test, we were very opposite, but when it comes to values, it's kind of shocking how similar we are. We're both like, we both wanna take the road less traveled. We're always gonna choose the hard path. We wanna do Yeah, and we love to make an impact on it's kind of interesting that those things because you often say with the best relationships, like, you don't have to be the same, but, like, values are really important, and I thought that was kinda cool.
But I think there is something in the physically hard, like, that slipped from my life, I'm like, "What is the" and I'm doing some boot camp, which I'm really enjoying, like, I was uber competitive last week, which I loved, and I was, like, alive, and the sun was rising, and I was like I'm like, "Wow," like, I'm just so motivated to like to race myself and others. Like, I just love it. So, anyway, the physically hard
And
thing
that
is
is where we differ. You really are attracted to the competition motivates you for exercise. I I my life hack, my running hack is I always listen to real survival stories or something when I'm out running because when I'm like puffing like a steam train and being like, "Well, with me, it's hard." Last week I was running and there was like someone stuck under like 5 tons of grain and he was like fighting for his life. And I'm always like, if he can do it, I can do it. And I keep plodding along.
right? But we are inspired by those people. So I feel like we should be chatting with our partners and planning something like, what is the thing? If it's not Base Camp, like, what is it? It's got to be something. Because I'm like, we're so inspired by these people doing incredible things. And I'm like, there's something there. There's something there. We
Do
must dig into
you are
it.
you because I feel like one of the things that shifted as I've gotten older, and I think I'm pretty comfortable with this, is I'm no longer like, I used to be more motivated to do, like, one peak thing, like, I would run a half marathon or wanna do a big, like, thing, whereas now I think I'm more when it comes to physically hard things, I feel like the physically hardest thing for me has been consistently being fit and healthy, and I actually am really comfortable now that for the rest of my life, if I can comfortably run, 5, 10 Ks and I'm spending some of my weekend walking up hills or going to a dance class or whatever it is, I actually think for me that is better than the old school boom and bust of, like, training to walk up to base camp and then, like, bleh afterwards, like, that didn't work for me as well.
For me, what works is the health follows the thing. Like, I always was like, "Oh gosh, I'm getting out of shape," and I'd sign up for a triathlon, or, like, I'd feel a little bit at odds, and I'd see a sign to sign up for this thing or whatever, and so for me, the thing is what drags me along because I struggle with, I don't know,
No,
motivation
I'm the
and
same, like, yeah.
willpower and all that stuff, so, like, knowing there's a deadline or a walk coming up, I'm like, "Ooh, better do that physio or better," Yeah, so no, I think there's something there, and I've been toying with that, there's that thing in the Upper North Island, people know that are listening to me in New Zealand is, where you, like, bike and you or do orienteering and stuff, and I'm like, "Is that the thing?" So I'm just circling, like, I don't know
Yeah,
what the
'cause
thing is.
you are a cross-functional athlete.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the thing is, but then, like, my limitation, Nat, I don't wanna get hurt, like, I don't like getting hurt,
No, that's why I think I've just gotten a lot more comfortable with I just want a really good
yeah.
baseline, and, like, after this, 3:30, I'm going out for a jog in Island Bay, and I just said to my friends, "Do you wanna come too?" And I'm like, "We'll do our own exercises because everyone's, like, walking or jogging or walking, but, like, it's motivation and going together, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and I think I'm comfortable with that being my goal. But I would like to talk about work because one of the things I found really hard with this obituary is we're doing it in a work context, and we heard about it through a work context. And both of us spoke a little bit about work, but I found it really hard at the start to not make it all about work and then go, "No, that's not what I want people to say at my funeral." So I'm curious to know from you, like, where did it make you think about your career in the context of your life? Like,
Impact. For me, it just had to be, like, like how did it make me think? It made me realize Uh, I don't know if I'm answering your question properly, but what I do know is I love surrounding myself by exceptional people that had to be in there, and I often found that in the startup world and with people doing hard things. So as even if I didn't identify with the product I was working with at that time, it didn't matter because it was still a hard thing. It was and I felt like my fingerprint could be in there, and it was like something to nothing. It was all measurable, but if I think of Power Suit, now we've got the best of all the worlds where it's like all that we get to
you're
be
working with
surrounded by.
exceptional people,
Exactly.
exceptional person.
And then you get to it's almost like we get to choose the impact, which is amazing. And, so I didn't cover it a lot because I just thought it like, I didn't go the aspirational route. So I think that could easily be a next step.
Well, it was only just because I thought after Power Suit, like, I have a list on my phone, Nat's next career. Well, it's interesting because my obituary, as with yours, was very focused around impact and doing hard things and challenging things. My next career is fostering and or training service dogs. I'd started with guide dog puppies, but I actually would be quite happy with any of them, like the dogs that work at the airports, the drug dogs, whatever, police dogs. I wanna be a bartender at a local pub, but only like a coverer of shifts. So like I could go and just do one shift, but I'm not committed to being physically somewhere. I would like to form a dance crew. Like we went to the Newtown Festival and I was like, I can see myself with a dance crew. And it's like joyous dancing. Like they were what's that Brazilian dance where it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yes.
drums and I was
Capoeira.
like,
Mhm.
amazing. These careers are not going to pay at all
I was
if
just
they're
gonna say these feel like
well, but
nice
I don't my
hobbies.
expectation part of my obituary is I'm not going to need money because I'll have money. So like lawn mowing I would be a lawnmower for people with disabilities and or old people who can't mow their lawns because I get so much joy out of mowing lawns, like the joy of like the tidiness and planting wetlands. I've done it once or twice with a friend of mine, and again, it's like this like beautiful manual labor that allows you to then see something that's going to be felt way beyond your lifetime. But like I'm largely doing it for the like joy of being outside planting things. And none of those things are high purpose, exceptional people to and I was like, "Am I for the next part of my life going to" and maybe it is just because what we're doing at the moment is so full on that maybe the things I'm drawn to or their dream is like, "I need a bit of downtime after this, and then I'll pick something else up." But I'm wondering if in the next 80 years, career is gonna feel like a big part or not, you know?
Mm. That's where I struggled. I went from kind of maybe I'm dying next year, knock on wood, and I just couldn't see that like what we're doing next other than more of the same. And so yeah, it
Ah.
feels like session number 2. Session number
I
2. I
mean,
love it.
we could easily be doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, like, no one's we're not closing shop, but it did make me think, like, is that when I'm 120 yeah, I think what I'd like to be known for, I think is what we talked about, it's just that, do I wanna do it for the next 80 years?
Noted, noted. Okay, I just wanna share some quick tips for those listening, is to just go ahead and, open up a robot and, just start, talking about things about yourself and, just makes it just that's what
Could
I did.
you
I just
read do you
like
have your prompts? Could you read? Because I basically just
well
started with a picture of, like, where would I like to be when I die? And that's got was, like, on a boat and warm with
No, I
friends.
just gave it a really specific yeah, okay, no, I didn't do that. I gave it a specific this is where I kind of went into a bit of a pickle. I gave it the real specific task of an obituary, and then I said, "Can you ask me 10 questions to start the conversation?" And then it did, yeah. And so and then I didn't like some of the questions, and then we happened upon a few of the areas, and then I wanted to explore those more deeply. So that was the start of the conversation, and invariably, we I had to wrestle a lot with this very annoying I don't know, call this person Brenda or something, but, you know, um, yeah, we ended up yeah, Brendan, but we got there kind of in the end, but I think, yeah, that would be my suggestion is just to crack it open, say, "Look, I wanna build an obituary or a manifesto," in order to filter,
I
in
don't
order
know
to
if
get
manifesto I don't know, manifesto's sort of tied to terrorism,
well, it's not, it's
Kristen's
they
manif
have
how
can I
did
just
how are you
say
planning on dying, Kristen?
no, no. Can I just say they are one of the more successful examples of a manifesto because they follow them. They have really clear but to be fair, I mean, some of the most inspiring people in the world had manifestos. Actually, yeah, Hitler, true. Okay, all right. Nonetheless, it is a guide for life, and we wanna look back in the lens. So just wrestle with a robot and let us know how you get on. That's my ask.
Yeah, and I think maybe one of the things that you could ask yourself I was thinking about because you're assuming someone else is saying this about you, although I wouldn't put it beyond myself to write my own one to make sure they get it right, but, like, to have what would I want people to say about me? Like, we talk about it now, what with personal brand, what do you want people to say about you or think about you when you're not in the room? And I wonder if it's sort of a bigger picture of that. So I feel like there's probably a bunch of different ways you can go about doing it, and I do think you should join us and try and do it sort of repeat it as a exercise to even I think I'm gonna try and keep this somewhere so
Yeah,
that we can
I think we'll get really clear. This was a really great take one, and I think what we'll do is we will now create the mini masterclass off of this. So please do join Powersuit so that we can help you. But feel free to test a few things out with a robot, but we'll get there. Yeah, thanks everyone. Check out powersuit.com and join us so that you can attend this mini masterclass or watch it after the fact and do it. And
and if anyone knows Michelle Obama or Westlife, you know where I am.
We'll
You
catch you
think
next
I'm
time,
joking, and I
everyone.
pretend I'm joking, but I'm not joking.
No, you're not. Okay, we'll catch you next time. We hope. We're not going anywhere.
R.I.P. Bless our hearts.
Catch you
We
soon,
hope
everyone.
we hope to still be here next week.
Okay, bye.